Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into the most valuable and sought-after coins in the market. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so more collectors and treasure hunters can join our journey. In this episode, we're focusing on the legendary Buffalo nickel, the 5-cent coin from the United States. Struck between 1913 and 1938, this coin is one of the most iconic pieces of American currency. With its bold design showing a proud Native American profile on the obverse and a majestic buffalo on the reverse, it became more than just small change. It became a symbol of America's frontier spirit. Now, here's the exciting part. Certain buffalo nickels, especially those with rare silver-toned sides, unique errors, or coins in dirty but original circulated condition, have turned into major players in the coin collecting world. These treasures are not just pieces of history. They are some of the most valuable coins in the market today. At auctions, rare buffalo nickels can sell for thousands, even hundreds of thousands, of dollars, depending on rarity, mint mark, and condition. These coins carry stories of the Great Depression, the roaring 1920s, and the struggles of early 20th century America. Each scratch and worn detail whispers the tale of its journey. And today, if you happen to find one in an old drawer or coin jar, you might just be holding a small fortune without even realizing it. So if you are a coin enthusiast, or someone who appreciates the beauty and significance of American currency, this video is made for you. Let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, let us step into the world of American numismatic legend, where ordinary pocket change can suddenly transform into a treasure worth millions. Today, our spotlight falls on one of the most iconic and desired coins ever minted in the United States, the 1923 Buffalo nickel, also called the Indian head nickel, struck in 5-cent silver nickel alloy. This coin, born in the early decades of the 20th century, carries more than just monetary value. It carries history, artistry, rarity, and above all, the potential to turn an ordinary person into a millionaire overnight if they happen to hold one of its ultra-rare surviving specimens. The Buffalo Nickel series, introduced in 1913, stands as one of the greatest achievements of American coin design. Conceived during a time when the U.S. Mint sought to inject artistry and national pride into everyday coinage, the Buffalo nickel was a breath of life into otherwise plain currency. Its design came from James Earl Fraser, a student of the famous sculptor Augustus St. Gaudens, and it was meant to celebrate the rugged identity of America, the Native American heritage on one side and the powerful image of the American bison on the other. By 1923, the Buffalo nickel was in full swing, yet that year's issue would become a treasure among treasures. Many 1923 nickels entered circulation, but those that survived in pristine condition, or with certain striking characteristics, are so rare that their worth today is beyond imagination. Some specimens, particularly those with errors, high grades, or mint-state brilliance, are the ones that collectors will battle for, driving values into the millions. On its obverse, the 1923 nickel carries the noble profile of a Native American chieftain, a composite portrait Fraser created by studying several real-life tribal leaders. The detail is striking: the feathers in the hair, the strong jawline, and the intense gaze. Every line tells the story of dignity, heritage, and resilience, giving this coin a depth no ordinary nickel could ever possess. Turn the coin over, and the reverse reveals the majestic American bison, often referred to as a buffalo. The creature stands tall and strong, embodying the spirit of the wild frontier. This design alone has captivated collectors for generations. But when you add rarity, history, and survival into the mix, the 1923 Buffalo nickel transcends art. It becomes a fortune waiting to be discovered. Why does the 1923 edition stand out so dramatically? It is because coins of this year were often struck with weak details and poor quality, meaning most wore down quickly in circulation. To find one that has survived with sharp details, bold luster, and unbroken fields is like stumbling upon buried treasure. The higher the grade, the higher the price. And in the world of 1923 Buffalo nickels, those prices can rise into the millions. Imagine the story: a coin minted for just 5 cents, meant to jingle alongside pennies and dimes in the pockets of everyday Americans, now commanding more value than gold or diamonds. This is not an exaggeration, it is the very reality of numismatics, where rarity and condition meet passionate demand. Consider also the errors and varieties. Some 1923 nickels were struck with slight misalignments, doubling in the letters, or weak strikes on the date and bison. These minting anomalies, once dismissed as imperfections, now increase the value astronomically. For collectors, Such flaws make the coin unique, and uniqueness translates into fortune. The true magic lies in the fact that anyone could unknowingly possess this coin. Families often inherit jars of old nickels, forgotten in attics, drawers, and boxes. Among them, hidden like a sleeping dragon, could be a 1923 Buffalo nickel in a state of preservation that makes it worth millions today. Imagine being the person to uncover such a treasure, the thrill, the disbelief, the life-changing realization. To hold one of these coins is to hold a piece of America's soul. It is history you can touch, artistry you can admire, and wealth you can scarcely believe. That is why collectors across the globe are willing to part with fortunes just to have one in their possession. The 1923 Buffalo nickel stands as proof that value is not always about precious metal content. Though made from a copper-nickel alloy, not gold or silver, it eclipses even the finest bullion coins when rarity and desirability are considered. Its power lies not in its weight of metal, but in its weight of history and scarcity. Each detail of the coin adds to its allure. The date, the Liberty inscription, the strength of the bison's legs, the sharpness of the Native American's braid, all become points of obsession for collectors. The better these details are preserved, the more unimaginable the price becomes. It is no wonder auction houses light up whenever a 1923 Buffalo nickel of exceptional grade appears. Bidders from across the world converge, each hoping to outdo the other, driving the price higher and higher. These auctions have recorded staggering sums, where this humble 5-cent piece has sold for values that most people could never dream of. The coin also carries with it a sense of national identity. For Americans, the Buffalo nickel represents the untamed West, the dignity of native peoples, and the spirit of freedom. Owning one is not just about wealth, it is about holding on to a piece of the nation's story, one that can be passed down through generations. And yet, despite its fame among collectors, the 1923 Buffalo nickel remains elusive. Few are lucky enough to ever see one in gem condition, let alone own one. This elusiveness is what makes it so powerful. The rarity transforms it from a coin into a legend, from money into myth. Imagine finding one in near-perfect state. Overnight, your financial destiny changes. A coin that once bought a loaf of bread could now buy you a mansion, a fleet of cars, or even secure your family's future for generations. That is the astonishing magic of the 1923 Buffalo nickel. Collectors describe it as a coin with sleeping wealth, a fortune disguised as pocket change. It sits quietly, waiting for the right person to recognize its true worth. Once discovered, it awakens, and with it awakens the dreams of prosperity. Some call it the crown jewel of Buffalo nickels, others the miracle coin of American numismatics. Whatever the title, one truth remains. The 1923 Buffalo nickel is one of the most valuable and expensive coins ever minted in the United States, and its rarity ensures it will never lose its place in history. For those who hold one, caution is key. Do not spend it, do not dismiss it, and above all, do not sell it cheaply. This is a coin of destiny, a piece capable of rewriting your fortune overnight. The power of this coin lies in its perfect blend of art, rarity, and survival. It is a symbol of what numismatics can achieve, a transformation of the ordinary into the extraordinary, of 5 cents into millions of dollars. Even as time moves forward, the legend of the 1923 Buffalo nickel only grows stronger. With each passing year, as fewer coins survive and more collectors seek them out, the value climbs ever higher, ensuring that its reputation as an ultra-rare fortune maker remains unshakable. So remember this: if ever you come across a Buffalo nickel, especially one from 1923, look closely. You may be holding a miracle in your hand. For in that small piece of silver nickel lies not only the spirit of a nation, but also the power to change your life forever. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself for a journey into the golden heart of American numismatics, where a small coin worth just 5 cents when it was minted has today become a symbol of fortune and destiny. We are talking about the 1927 Buffalo nickel, one of the most valuable, most expensive, and ultra-rare treasures in the history of the United States Mint. This nickel, born in the Roaring Twenties, is not just a coin. It is a miracle that carries the power to transform ordinary lives into extraordinary ones overnight. If you have this coin, you are holding an unimaginable key to wealth, history, and glory. The Buffalo nickel, also known as the Indian head nickel, was created to showcase the soul of America, and by 1927 it had already become a cultural icon. Designed by the brilliant sculptor James Earl Fraser, this coin embodies two of the greatest symbols of the American spirit: the proud Native American on the obverse and the mighty American bison on the reverse. The 1927 issue, however, is in a class of its own, with specimens so rare and precious that their value in today's market can soar into the millions of dollars. Imagine, for just a moment, a coin minted for everyday commerce, intended to buy bread, milk, or a ride on a trolley, now becoming the centerpiece of million-dollar auctions. That is the unbelievable journey of the 1927 Buffalo nickel. Its rarity is not simply in its age, but in the survival of pristine examples, those untouched by circulation and preserved with their brilliance intact. These are the coins that collectors dream of, coins that can make fortunes appear overnight. The obverse of the 1927 nickel tells a story of pride and resilience. The face of the Native American, created by combining the features of several great chiefs, radiates power, wisdom, and dignity. Every feather in the headdress, every line in the profile, every curve of the braid tells of a history that shaped a nation. This is not just a coin, it is a canvas of culture. Flip the coin, and the reverse reveals one of the most beloved images in all of numismatics, the mighty American bison, often called the buffalo. Standing tall and strong, it represents the wild frontier, the land of freedom, and the unbroken spirit of America. For collectors, this design elevates the coin beyond money. It becomes a story, a masterpiece, and a treasure. Now, why is the 1927 edition so extraordinary? Because most of the nickels from this year were heavily circulated. They were used, worn, and rubbed until their details faded into smoothness. Very few survived in high grades, and those that did are now like diamonds among stones. A gem-quality 1927 Buffalo nickel is virtually priceless, capable of commanding millions at auction. What makes this even more incredible is that some 1,927 nickels carry slight variations or minting quirks. Weak strikes, doubling, or small differences in detail make them unique. To collectors, uniqueness means rarity, and rarity means unimaginable value. These one-of-a-kind survivors are the coins that ignite fierce bidding wars and rewrite records at prestigious auctions. Consider the sheer power of discovery. Imagine cleaning out an old chest in your attic, stumbling upon a jar of coins left behind by grandparents, and among them lies a shining 1927 Buffalo nickel. At first glance, it may look like just another old coin. But with expert eyes, its hidden value would be revealed, and suddenly, what you thought was worth 5 cents could instead be worth millions, changing your life forever. This is not fantasy, it has happened before. People have unknowingly kept Buffalo nickels for decades, only to later learn they were holding treasures worth more than houses, more than cars, even more than gold. That is the kind of destiny the 1927 nickel carries with it. Auction houses across the world know the magnetic power of the 1927 Buffalo nickel. When one appears, collectors from every corner of the globe step into the arena, ready to fight for the prize. The bidding rises, hearts race, and when the hammer finally falls, the price is often enough to make headlines. Such is the power of this 5-cent piece. But the coin is not just about money, it is also about meaning. The 1927 Buffalo nickel connects its owner to an era of American growth, when the country was building skyscrapers, jazz was roaring in speakeasies, and the nation was finding its identity. To hold this coin is to hold a fragment of that time, a piece of history that has survived through nearly a century of change. And yet, despite its fame, the 1927 Buffalo nickel remains elusive. Most examples are either too worn to carry extreme value or are locked away in private collections, never to be seen again. That is what makes finding one such a miracle, an event so rare that it feels almost like destiny itself. Collectors call it the hidden gem of the Buffalo series. Some even whisper that the 1927 nickel is a coin of fate, appearing only to those lucky enough to have fortune on their side. Whether or not you believe in destiny, one thing is certain. This coin carries unimaginable financial power. Let us not forget the artistry. Fraser's design was criticized during its time for being too complex for mass circulation, but today, that very detail is what makes it beloved. Every curve, every symbol, every engraving turns the 1927 Buffalo nickel into a masterpiece of miniature sculpture. It is art you can hold in your palm, but its worth extends far beyond imagination. Think of the transformation. A coin worth 5 cents becomes worth millions. That is a return of investment unlike anything else in the world. Gold cannot boast such a rise. Diamonds cannot promise such a leap. Only rare coins, like the 1927 Buffalo nickel, have the magical ability to grow in value beyond belief. The coin is also a reminder to collectors and everyday people alike: never underestimate the power of small things. What appears humble, what seems ordinary, can sometimes be the very key to unlocking extraordinary fortune. For those lucky enough to own a 1927 Buffalo nickel in top condition, the advice is simple: guard it, cherish it, and never let it go for a low price. Its value is not just monetary, it is symbolic, historic, and eternal. To part with it cheaply would be to throw away destiny itself. Every detail adds to the coin's myth. The year, the strikes, the luster, the sharpness of the bison's tail or the Native American's feathers, these are the elements that collectors scrutinize. The better preserved, the more breathtaking the value. Even now, as years pass, the demand for Buffalo nickels continues to grow. With every passing generation, their scarcity deepens, and their legend strengthens. This ensures that the 1927 issue will always remain a crown jewel in the world of coin collecting. To own one is to join a lineage of collectors who understand the magic of numismatics. It is not just about owning metal, but about preserving a story, cherishing history, and holding fortune in your hands. And so, the 1927 Buffalo nickel remains one of the most valuable and ultra-rare coins ever minted. A small piece of metal with the ability to change lives, rewrite destinies, and make millionaires overnight. If you are fortunate enough to possess this coin, you must know that you are holding more than just currency. You are holding a miracle. A miracle of art, a miracle of rarity, and above all, a miracle of fortune. The legend of the 1927 Buffalo nickel is proof that sometimes the smallest things in life carry the greatest power to ascent. Ladies and gentlemen, gather close, because today we step into the mysterious world of American numismatic legends, where an ordinary-looking coin holds the potential to unlock extraordinary fortune. I'm speaking of the 1929 Buffalo nickel, also famously called the Indian head nickel, a small 5-cent piece that has grown into one of the most valuable, most expensive, and ultra-rare coins in the collecting universe. What was once simply spare change jingling in pockets nearly a century ago has now transformed into a financial treasure that can bring unimaginable wealth, worth millions of dollars in today's market. If you own this coin, you may not even realize it yet, but you could already be sitting on a fortune capable of changing your life overnight. The Buffalo Nickel series, created by the sculptor James Earl Fraser, is widely considered one of the most artistic coin designs in American history. On one side, the noble portrait of a Native American chief stares outward, bold and dignified, carrying with him the story of a people and a heritage that defined early America. On the reverse, the mighty buffalo stands proudly, symbolizing the untamed wilderness and the unstoppable spirit of the frontier. But when it comes to the 1929 issue, collectors know that something special lives within these coins, something that sets them apart and elevates them into the category of treasures beyond imagination. The year 1929 was a turning point in American history. It was the year the stock market crashed, plunging the country into the Great Depression. Families lost their fortunes overnight, jobs disappeared, and survival became the focus of everyday life. In this backdrop, the 5-cent Buffalo nickel circulated in the hands of millions, buying loaves of bread, cups of coffee, or bus rides across town. Yet few could have known that some of those very nickels would outlast the Depression and, a century later, become rarities commanding sums of money so high they could restore fortunes lost during those dark days. What makes the 1929 Buffalo nickel ultra-rare is not just its age but its condition and survival. Most of the nickels struck that year were heavily used during the Depression years. Worn down from circulation, their fine details faded away. The Native American's profile became smooth, the buffalo's features blurred, and only the most ordinary survivors remained. But a handful, just a precious few, were preserved in mint condition, hidden away in collections, vaults, or forgotten jars. These survivors, glowing with luster and detail, now stand as golden tickets in the numismatic world. When you hold a 1929 Buffalo nickel in pristine condition, you are holding a masterpiece. The feathers in the chief's headdress are sharp and defined, the cheekbones stand out with sculptural beauty, and every strand of the braid glistens under the light. Turn the coin over, and the buffalo is full of strength, every muscle etched with clarity, every curve of its body a tribute to Fraser's genius. These details are what collectors pay millions for, because the better preserved the coin, the more extraordinary its value becomes. Auction houses know the magnetic pull of the 1929 Buffalo nickel. When one of these rare gems comes up for sale, collectors from across the globe gather like moths to a flame. The bidding starts modestly, but within moments, it skyrockets. Numbers climb higher and higher until they reach jaw-dropping amounts, sometimes in the millions, with bidders fighting to claim the glory of ownership. And when the hammer falls, the crowd knows history has been made once again. Think of the unbelievable power of such a small coin. Something minted for just 5 cents, meant to rattle in pockets, to pay for a newspaper, or to slip into a candy store cash register, has now become an object of unimaginable wealth. This transformation is nothing short of magic, a story that proves that treasures can hide in plain sight. Imagine, for a moment, searching through your old coin jar or opening a forgotten box passed down from grandparents. Inside, you find a buffalo nickel from 1929. At first glance, it looks like any other old nickel, tarnished with age. But upon closer inspection, it reveals itself to be something much more, a $1 million key to fortune, waiting for the right pair of eyes to recognize it. That moment of discovery could be the moment that transforms your life forever. The 1929 Buffalo nickel also carries within it the symbolism of survival. It lived through the stock market crash, through breadlines, through years when every cent mattered. And now, nearly a century later, it emerges not just as a survivor, but as a conqueror, a coin that outlasted despair to bring prosperity in modern times. This duality of history and wealth is what makes it priceless. Collectors often speak of the Buffalo nickel as more than just money. They see it as art, as history, and as destiny. The 1929 issue embodies all three. It is art, because its design is timeless. It is history, because it reflects the struggles of an era. And it is destiny, because whoever owns it today holds the power to change their fortunes overnight. The ultra-rarity of this coin also lies in subtle variations and mint marks. Some were struck in Philadelphia, others in Denver or San Francisco. Each mint's production numbers and survival rates add layers of rarity to the 1929 issue. For those who study these small details, even a slight difference in mint mark placement or strike sharpness can mean the difference between thousands and millions in value. And yet, despite all its fame, the 1929 Buffalo nickel remains a hidden treasure. Many are tucked away in collections, unseen by the public. Others lie quietly, unrecognized, in personal stashes across the world. This mystery fuels the excitement, because the possibility always exists that one could still be discovered by chance. That chance of discovery is what makes the 1929 Buffalo nickel so enchanting. It's not locked away in museums where the public can only dream of it. It could still be out there, waiting for the next lucky finder. This keeps collectors hopeful and ordinary people curious, constantly checking their coins in search of the miracle. Every detail on the coin tells a story. The bold numerals of the date, the curve of the buffalo's back, the strength in the Native American's jawline, each is a testament to Fraser's artistry and the U.S. Mint's craftsmanship. Together, they elevate the coin into an immortal symbol of value. What separates this coin from ordinary collectibles is its power. The power to make millionaires overnight. The power to shift someone's destiny in an instant. The power to turn an object once worth 5 cents into something that rivals luxury mansions, sports cars, or even rare diamonds in value. Those who own one know that they possess something far greater than money. They hold a piece of American identity, a bridge between the past and the present, and a living treasure that will only grow rarer as time goes on. And that is why the 1929 Buffalo nickel is so extraordinary. Its legend is not built on myth but on reality, on actual auctions, on actual discoveries, and on actual fortunes made. It is the perfect blend of beauty, rarity, and destiny. To collectors, it is the crown jewel. To dreamers, it is a symbol of hope. To the lucky, it is a life changer. This is why the 1929 Buffalo nickel stands at the pinnacle of numismatic glory. Never, under any circumstances, should you let this coin slip away for a low price.